that's awesome. Let's talk about real event etiquette.
Oh, God,
like
yeah.
actual events.
Can we talk about that?
Right? Some people are doing it right. Some people are doing it wrong.
Most people do it wrong.
Most people do it wrong.
But it's not your fault. You don't know.
Unless you know, then it is your fault.
And then it is your fault. After today, if you do it wrong, it will be your fault.
Right.
Because you're going to know.
Proper dress at an event. Business casual. This right here, typically I might even throw a blazer on. Right? If I'm at an event right here, I'll throw a sports jacket. If I'm going to have like the open little Henley shirt, some nice jeans, dress shirt, that's a good business casual event. I would rather have you err on the side of too dressed up than not dressed up enough. Right? If you have to mess up and you have to make a mistake, be on the high side.
Full-on tuxedo.
That would be better than like your basketball shorts and your socks with your Adidas sandals on. So I saw a guy show up and I was literally just like, "Hey brother, I had to turn around. I apologize that whoever invited you out didn't know that there was a dress code. I'm so embarrassed for whoever invited you out, but there's it's a business event." In network marketing, right? You want to have an environment where everybody walks in and they are able to say, "Me too." When I come into this event, I could see myself bringing people that I know into this event. I would feel comfortable with bringing my warm market here. The number one thing that every prospect is evaluating when they come to a physical event is not the speaker, is not the content, and all that stuff. The number one question they're asking is, if I was to bring people that I know here, would they laugh at me? Would they be cool with it? Would they like it? Would it be weird? The number one question they're all asking in their head is, would my people feel comfortable and be cool with this whole thing? In a really good network marketing culture, a good culture environment, it should be very diverse.
Yes.
You want black, white, you want brown, you want
yellow,
Asian, you want old, young, you want wealthy, people that are just getting started. You want this diverse group all together is a really good look at network marketing organization.
Yep.
That way, no matter who gets brought out to the event, they can look at it and say, "Me too." If you really want to build a massively successful network marketing culture organization, you want it to look like the United Nations. Right? Multicultural, multi-age, education backgrounds, all that stuff. Now, with that being said, in order for my doctor friend, if I want to bring my doctor, my professional, really close friend that makes a lot of money, used to a high income, used to dealing with professional clients, and I bring him into an environment, and there's this kid with the basketball shorts on and the big FU t-shirt, and all of a sudden he's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't bring anyone that I know here." And I just lost a guy like a Dr. Phoebe Liu, a Dr. Ho. I mean, I'd like to have a guy like that on your team. Trust me, right? There's certain people I'm like, "Oh, don't look at him. Come here. Let me help you." No hats at the event. Now, this is a little different, right? We're more casual anyway.
Yeah.
But at an opportunity overview, you are on. You are on, you're on, you're on. You leave your junk in the trunk. You do not bring your problems into the event. If you had a bad week, that's not the place I want to hear about it. If you're having a struggle in your business, this is not the place I want to hear about it. The second you get in this room, I need you on. I need you smiling, good attitude, upbeat, positive, taking notes. If you've heard the presentation before, and I'm like, "Oh, I've already heard this," and you sit back and you're like, "I already know this joke." You're laughing ahead of time. You know what I mean? Play team, right? Pretend like it's your first time. I don't care. Sit there. Any of you guys ever watched Josh Denny at an event?
Oh my God, it's amazing.
He's a maniac. He's in front row. He takes notes like it's his first presentation every time. His face is like, "Oh yeah, engaged. Oh, this is incredible."
And he taught you everything you're saying.
He taught me everything I know anyways, and he's listening to me like it's the first time he ever heard it, which is fantastic. He gives such good energy. He's the number one guy to go model in this.
Here's one thing I'll give you. I remember being new, and he was doing an event etiquette training. One of the things he did with his organization, he said, "If you ever see my back hit the chair, I'm going to give you $100. Wow. Anybody in his organization, if his back hit the chair, because he sat on the edge of his seat for his entire career.
Yep. He still does it.
He still does it today.
Making well over $100,000 a month. You see him at a national convention. He doesn't go pee. He does not. He gets there. He's front row. He is taking notes like it is his first time. He knows more. He's forgotten more about network marketing than most of us have learned. And why do you think he makes $100,000 a month?
Yep.
Front row, he's taking notes. Every event, he's there, 100%.
Some of you are like, I want my team to show up. There's one thing I don't understand from a leadership standpoint. Two things is this. I'm talking to leaders here, right?
Yep.
So this is an event etiquette training for leaders. You know what you need to do? You need to get in the front row. If you're not in the front row, you're
not a leader.
You're not a leader.
I was just talking to Jordan Bizerto. This was so great. He sent me a text, and he was dealing with some challenges with some different people that were at a new marketplace he was going to. And he said, how am I supposed to work when my leaders are crybabies? And I said, reread your last text and tell me what's wrong with it. And he sends me a text, are you trying to say that leaders aren't crybabies? You're getting it, right? Right? That's what it is. I'm like, the guys that you think are your leaders aren't. You need to replace those guys pretty quick. If you think you're a leader and you're not here early enough to get your seat up in the front, you're not. You're getting there. Unlike high school where it's kind of cool to be in the back, this is in high school. All the top money earners are always in front. When you go to a national convention, where do the top money earners sit? In the front. At the business briefing, a training, where do the top money earners sit? In the front, or they're on a stage with a pen in their hand. Now, here's the thing. Sometimes you'll catch me in the back, right, if I'm orchestrating this whole thing. Trust me when I said, you know how much I would love. I'm so jealous of you, by the way. Right? So Jesse has been running an event forever. We were just talking about this. He just moved to Phoenix, right? And Felipe runs that market.
Yes,
right?
he does. Felipe and Shakira.
Felipe gets there early. He sets up all of this, every chair. This whole event runs. Jesse gets to show up and just pay $5.
It's the greatest thing in the whole world.
Here's $5. Here's peas. I'm gonna take my seat in the front. For $5, he has this space to bring in a massive group of people to get paid. I'm telling you, I would love to not be the dude that has to go do all this crap. That got here at 8 in the morning to help set up all this, to do all this stuff. Now, some of you guys are going to have to go through setting up markets, and you're going to pioneer a market, and you get paid proportionally to go do that stuff too. Understand, right? So first and foremost, just get there early. If you're strolling in late, don't pretend like your prospects or your team is supposed to give a shit about this thing when it's obvious that you don't.
Also, don't expect your leaders to look at you as a leader when you show up late.
Yes.
By the way, for those of you in my organization, when you show up late to the regional, I literally write you off mentally.
He's the biggest one, yeah.
Like, literally, it makes me go, not a six-figure earner, not a six-figure earner, not a six-figure earner. It's literally what happens. Because I've never Josh doesn't show up late. I've never met $1 million ring earner that doesn't show up for their business early. Before their people are there, meeting them, greeting them, talking to them in the hallway, prepping the conversations, promoting last minute, getting people there. I want you guys to understand, in the event, so it's getting here early. Now, why? Because you want to model the behavior for your organization. Model the behavior you want to duplicate in your organization. They should be signed up before the presentation starts mentally. Because when they walk in, they're like, I don't know what's going on, but I want to be a part of this.
We call that in the hallway. As a prospect, you are already making your decision on whether or not you could see yourself doing this in the first 5 minutes of actually being in the environment. Right? It starts in the hallway. The conversations that are happening. If you're hearing some guy talk about how, oh, dude, I did my party and half the people didn't come, and oh man, I'm trying to upgrade my 550 pack, and this prospect's sitting there like, what is that? People don't come. People flake. Like,
that's my favorite one. Yeah.
Attitude matters. Trust me. I get it. We all have issues. Trust me. Just because you do well with money doesn't make you immune to problems in your life. You have problems too. Higher class problems, but they're problems. So what happens is just take whatever problems you have, put them in your trunk, lock it, right? Or actually just leave it open. No one's gonna steal them. Right? They'll be there when you get back. And just for the brief couple hours that we're away from them, here's the thing. If you have a crappy week, then you need the event. If you have a great week, the event needs you. We need your energy. We need your stories. We need your positivity. This is an environment where everything is pumped and awesome, and you get energy. And we're all here to play team. All of us, just like in a play, each actor has their role, has their part. Even if you're an extra in a movie, you still have your role to play. You may not be the main guy on stage delivering the lines, but without you, there is no me. You get that? I can't talk to an empty room with no one in it. In your testimonials, that 30-second testimonial, do not have an ego and do this crazy testimonial. When I got started in this industry, if you messed up your 30-second testimonial, you did not get to speak for like 6 months. That's how it was. You had some serious like, oh my God, you practice and you practice and you practice, because if you messed up that 30-second testimonial, you weren't even allowed to even try again for like half a year. It was like, go think about what you did. It's like your parents like, no, right? We've been a little too casual with it. Trust me.
For sure. A couple of things. If you want your guests to show up, number one way is to pick them up.
Yep, pick them up.
Pick them up. Pick them up, get here early, sit in the front. By the way, I'd be curious, I don't know what the exact percentages are, but they're drastically different. If you have a guest in this row versus this row versus this row versus this row versus this row, you can probably bank on losing about a 5% sign-up ratio every row you go back.
Yes.
In a room. By the way, those of you in the front of the room, you are learning more than the people in the back of the room. You are getting more from this event than the people in the back of the room. The reason why is because you have no distractions up here. Those of you in the back of the room are not getting as good of a training as those in the front of the room. You're not. You're in the same place, but you're not getting the same thing. Back of the room is not cool. You should be fighting for the front.
Yes.
I'll give you one example. Is my first convention that I ever went to inside of network marketing, it was November 2002 in the Riviera Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas.
Riviera. The
Riviera. There's 6,000 people, and there was no assigned seating, and the doors opened at 8 a.m. We would get in line at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
To get front row seating.
He knows how that is. Yep.
5 a.m. to get front row seating.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a different event.
For sure.
People say, that's crazy.
And
so is working 40 hours a week for somebody else for the rest of your life.
For sure.
That's crazy.
You want your team to see you in the front. More than anything, you want your team to see you in the front row taking notes, because everything you do duplicates. Also, get your guests a glass of water.
Ooh.
Huge thing. How many of you guys have ever been to a party before and you like don't know what to do with your hands? You're like sitting in a group and you're like that awkward, like, what do I do with these? And it's like this weird, awkward thing. But if you have a cup, you're comfortable now. It's like, oh, I'm safe. I have my cup. This is good. As long as I have my cup, I'm okay. Right? Right? That's like sell how it is. Even if they don't ask for it, I don't even ask them, you want a cup of water. I just go get them water. Hey, I got this for you. Great. Now they have their little safety cup. They're happy. Here's why it's so important to be early too, because especially if you have a guest. And by the way, everything you do duplicates. So if you want your team that shows up with guests to get there early too, you have to start it. It has to start with you. Everything in leadership starts with you. It's just like parenting. You can't be the parents that's like, don't smoke, this is bad for you. Trust me, do as I say, not as I do. Right? Listen to me carefully, but don't watch me too closely. Right? That's not leadership. The reason why you show up early is because there is a window of time where they're having to let their walls down.
Yep.
Any of you guys can remember your first event in network marketing? You have all these walls up, and you're like, all right, why are these people so happy? It's so funny because like when you come from the outside world in network marketing, like freaked out on why are these weirdos so happy? This is weird. Like you get into an elevator and you have one guy that looks like he wants to stab you and the other guy that's like happy off the charts, and you're more freaked out by the guy who's happy than the guy who like looks like he could stab you. Right? It's like the happy guy is way uncomfortable over here, right? And that's normal, unfortunately, right?
I'm that guy in an elevator now.
Right? Like way too happy. So there's a period of time, right, where you're having to kind of let your walls down. And you're kind of evaluating, like, all right, are these people cool? Can I bring my people around? Is this normal? Do I like these people? And here's the thing, if you bring them at 6:50 and you finally get your seat and get checked in here by almost 7 and then you get a seat here in the back, this person's walls are still massively up during the presentation. So the presenter is sitting here and they're not even landing the majority of what they're saying on your prospect because their walls are all still up. But if you would have brought them by 6:30, they were hanging out in the hallway, they got a chance to meet some people who were dressed sharp, who were professional, who were positive, not weird, but cool. Ask them, how you doing? Shaking hands, grabbing water, hanging out. By the time we open up the doors, they're already kind of vibing the place. This is kind of cool. I can dig these people. This is cool. By the time they get in the room, there's music. They got a good seat up here towards the front.
No distractions.
You've already introduced them to a couple of the people who edified you. This is big. If I want you to meet my prospect, I will introduce you to them. A lot of times people will, if I see me with a guest, they'll walk up and be like, hey, how do you and Joe know each other? Because they want to hear the story of how I prospected this person. And all of a sudden, everybody's coming up and being weird with my prospect. If I want to introduce you to something, and most of the time these people that do this are weird anyways, so they're like, yeah, I signed up 2 months ago and I haven't had a party yet because I'm really busy and my house is messy, but I can't, I have cats. I mean, it's just like, what? Like, can you please never
but you're here with Joe.
anyone that I bring to this.
You have any idea how lucky you are? You got signed up.
Oh my
you're
God,
here with Joe. You know
Valenzuela.
Joe?
Oh my God,
I wish I was here with Joe. I like Joe. Joe's so cool.
I'd give half my cats to be sponsored by Joe. Right? Anyways, right? Here's the thing. If I want to introduce you to somebody, I'll introduce you to them. Also, when you introduce them to somebody, all of us are prepped. When you do get introduced to a prospect, you're normal. Hey,
Chris,
how do you
come
guys
with
know
me.
each other?
Here,
Killer,
I'm
cool.
going to borrow Chris real quick. This is my favorite one. Joe. Let's say Joe's a presenter. Chris is my guest. This is like one of my favorite things in the whole world that people do. So, oh my God, Joe, hey, I got one. I got Chris.
That's it. It's like Pokemon. You gotta catch them all.
I gotta catch them all.
Got them.
Chris, hey, listen. So, hey, Joe, this is Joe. This is Chris.
Uh-huh.
Go.
And there's no introduction. Hey, this is Chris. Get him. You know what I mean? It's
Get him.
What?
Do the thing. Do the mind thing on him. Do the matching and the mirroring thing you do.
So ridiculous, right? A good intro, right?
Yeah.
Good, yes. Also edification. Well, we'll talk about three-way calls and edification. This is big. Or edifying in front of, hey, Chris, this is Jess, this guy I was telling you about. This guy's making a ton of money, man. Oh my gosh, he's helping so many people. He knows 100% of the facts. He's just a blast, man. Jesse, tell him. You know? And it's so and it's awkward for the presenter because you're sitting there while the person's like right here next to you, and they're like talking about you like you're not there. And it's like, yeah, man, this guy, it's like, I'm here. I can see you. Hey, here we go. Oh, that's awesome. So what to do? Number one, if you have a prospect or a guest that you're bringing out, if you see the speaker from across the room, or you see a top executive or a top silver royale, somebody that you want to introduce your prospect to, edify that person before you get there to them. Grab a hold of your prospect and be like, hey man, see that guy over there? Oh my God. Listen, dude, that guy, actually super down to earth, but actually one of the most successful guys here in the whole company. He went out there just in the last 2 months and actually qualified for the car bonus program, driver dream, just smashing it. Right? Mm-hmm. I'm sure he doesn't have a ton of time, but let me see if I can at least introduce it to you guys real quick.
Now, if I was going to edify him, what would I talk about when I was going to edify one of the leaders in the marketplace?
Whatever his color is.
Whatever their color is.
If I know that they're yellow, I'm like, oh my gosh, this person's helping so many people. And edify them. And then not talk about it in front of them. Hey, Jess, hey, this is a good friend of mine, Chris. We actually went to school together back in the day.
Oh, cool.
He's coming out, checking us out, see what's going on tonight.
Nice, cool.
Jess, this is my buddy Chris.
Chris, nice to meet you. Hey, so your first time coming out? Oh, cool. Are you from here? You're from LA? Oh, cool. What are you doing in San Diego? Just hanging out with your buddy?
Nice.
Nice. What do you do? Dance? No way. Me too. What? Insta friends.
So edify beforehand.
Not like so you're ready to get started. It's an amazing opportunity. They're going to talk about the Dead Sea and the products and the company and
oh, that's so big. Don't do a briefing before the briefing.
Yes.
So many times, the prospect, you're bringing them out to come see the overview, and it's like, oh man, let me tell you all about what's going to happen tonight. This company is manufactured by L'Oreal, started in the Dead Sea, did $1 billion in 40 countries, and you're just vomiting all over your prospect who's coming out to see a presenter give the information. The best thing you can possibly do with your prospect when you're coming down is dream build with them. As you're driving in, it's like, hey man, let me ask you this. If an extra $1,000 fell in your lap every month, what would you do with it? Let's say you hit the mega bucks and you won the lottery, and you didn't have to worry about money again for the rest of your life. What would you do, man? Like, what are you passionate about? What could you do all day, like if money wasn't an issue, like what could you do all day that wouldn't even feel like work? And just dream it with them. Nothing about secret, nothing about what we do, but just get their dream machine turned on. So by the time they come out to this event, they're already in a mental space of, man, I would be super open to finding something cool to help get all that stuff. That's your best thing you can do.
A couple other things. Joe mentioned this earlier, but just for the sake of sharing it, I love during the presentation to take notes. Now, there's different reasons that I take notes. Here's the reason why. Sitting in the front row, I take notes. Want to know why I take notes? I take notes on the presentation, so I can get good at the presentation. Just so you guys know, the presentation's choreographed. If you watch good presentations, you'll notice that they basically say almost the same thing every single time. Here's what's crazy. This training we're doing for you guys here today, we did this training last week, and a lot of the stuff that you said was exactly the same. Why? Because it works. The game doesn't change. Only the spectators do. Mm-hmm. So we say the same things. Now, one of the things I'm doing is matching. I take notes. I take notes on everything. I'm a note freak because the drama's in the details. I have time-scripted presentations, like how long it took them to do introduction. When did they talk about the company? When did they talk about the products? When did they talk about the compensation? How did they transition? Did they transition from one slide and then talk about it and then click the clicker? You know, how many times did they walk across the stage? I have that notes like that.
In the beginning, right, when you're brand new, you're going to take notes on content.
You take notes on content.
You don't know the presentations. You're trying to actually physically learn about the Dead Sea, and you're trying to physically learn about, you know, what's happening with the company and how the comp plan works. In the beginning, that's normal. But after you've seen it, I mean, I've been to 7 years worth of business briefings every week, and I don't ever miss. Right? There's only so many you can see before you know everything there is to know about the Dead Sea, the comp plan, person story. So then you start taking notes on all kinds of different stuff. I take notes when Jesse's presenting on his delivery. How does Jesse communicate a point? If he uses a certain joke, what story does he tell to illustrate a point? His timing. What Jesse's talking about is the physical timing of him going from his personal story into the presentation. How long does he spend on talking about the Dead Sea? How long does he spend telling the stories of before and afters of the products? What is the physical time he spends on it? If somebody has a bigger stack than I do in almost any area of life, and when I say a bigger stack is they're getting the results that I'm looking for and they're getting better results than I am in any particular area, I just shut up and take notes. That's what I do. If somebody's getting incredible fitness results in the gym and I would like to get the results that they're getting, I'm going to just not, well, here's what I think about the gym. Like, hey, how about you pipe down? I mean, and you just take notes. If somebody's making $1 million in 30 months in a company, and I'm like figuring out how to be a superstar, in my head, I had this from the very beginning. I'm like, man, I just want to figure out what you're doing and then do the exact same thing. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. Here's what I figure for sure. If I can say what Jesse says in the way that Jesse says it, and I can think the way he thinks about it, I can probably get what Jesse's getting. Kind of not rocket science. Jesse says what he says because he has a certain thought process behind it. If I think like he thinks, says what he says, and do what he does, when he does it, you can probably get the results he's getting. The good news is anybody can learn that.
Couple things. Don't get up in the presentation ever.
Yeah, don't pee.
If you're one of those people that you need to pee a lot, plan around that. Don't drink water or pee right before it starts. This is not a joke. The minute somebody in the middle of the presentation gets up and starts moving, starts walking, it's the craziest distraction in the entire world. Here's what's nuts, right? I've got my guest there. I took 4 months to get him out, and he finally came out, and I'm so excited, and he could be something that could be the game changer in my business, and he finally comes out, and then all of a sudden someone gets out and walks off, and he misses the one thing he needed to hear. And it just cost me $1 million because you had to pee.
This is big. I know some of this comes off as kind of harsh. I'm looking at some faces right now, and it's kind of like, we can't even pee. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm talking about being able to make a passive $1 million income.
Yes.
Right? Can you hold your pee for an hour for $1 million income? Please?
Please.
Drink a little less water just on Wednesdays only. I mean, For $1 million, yes. Play team.
Answering your phone. Don't
Being on Facebook on your phone.
Don't do this. Please. Please. Pretty please.
Please don't.
Okay, so let's say, Joe, we're in the presentation, right? We're sitting and taking notes on our participation. Write this down. Participate. By the way, here's what happens in the very beginning. When people say stuff, like some of you guys have heard, certain jokes before. In the beginning, you laugh. Now this is what you do. How many have skin? Said that last week. Man, I can't believe I didn't go superstar. Can't believe John flaked again.
Even more, I can't believe that idiot's a superstar. I've been here for 2 months. This guy's been here a week.
Right.
What the hell's going on?
And your guest is looking at you like, why are you so upset? Right? So, it's game time. You show up. It's game time. Just on your night, Wednesday night, Tuesday night, Monday night, I don't care. Just one night a week. Show up and get ready to play. Full out.
Yes.
We are a community here where when people come in, you're either making the room money or you're costing the room money.
Yes.
Contribute.
Yes.
Be a light, not a darkness. Yes.
Yes.
Amen.
Testify.
Yes, right. So.
Also, at the end of the event, when the speaker concludes the presentation, it is not a time to give a standing ovation, stand up, and walk out the room. No.
Yeah.
You worked so hard to get everybody there. In fact, here's the best thing. Stay seated.
Before you getting on closing, one thing in the presentation that'll help is, let's say Joe is, he's kind of like not into it, right? He's leaning back, body language, all this stuff. So, and I'm taking notes in the presentation. Here's the thing that I'm going to do. I'm not going to look at my guest and be like, dude, what's wrong with you, man? Get into it, right? First thing you're going to do is match him. Now, what's weird is I'll do it. I'm not going to do it like identical because that's just a little too weird. So, but, I'll lean back. I'm chilling out. And then the minute there's a transition, the minute like a slide change or something, I'm just going to give him a nudge and lean forward. I'll be like, oh, check this out. For 1 hour, give it everything you got.
Yes.
You are such an important part of this. Because remember, people rarely remember what was said, but they always remember how they felt.
Yeah. Oh,
It's the environment. It's the environment. It's the culture. It's the connection. It's communication. The information could be perfect, but if the environment is terrible, nobody wants to be a part of it. You want it to be so infectious that people are like, whatever these people are doing, I want to be a part of it.
Yep.
I want to be in. I want to be connected with it. I want to be around it. Not only that, I want to come next week. Not only do I want to come next week, I want to bring every human being I know. Because they got to see this. They got to meet these people.
Yes.
They're amazing. They're not weird. End of the presentation. Don't get up. This happened to me. Did you guys see, remember when I saw Avengers? No, not Avengers. It was an earlier one. Anyway, it was one of the Marvel movies, right?
Iron Man?
It could have been Iron Man. It was like one of the original Iron Man, all right? So Iron Man comes, we're in the theater, and at the end, all of a sudden the credits hit. Now, at the end of a movie, when people get up, it means it's time to... At the end of a concert, people get up, it's time to leave. At the end of the presentation, is it time to leave? No. It's time to what? Join. BV in the tree. So BV in the tree. Stopping at third base adds no more to the score than striking out. Some of you guys are getting at third base and you're like, man, I'm just gonna stay here.
Yeah, you don't want to just stay at third base.
Okay.
You just want to get
No,
home.
bring this sucker home. So you did all of the work, get home. So here's the thing, don't get up. I was in the theater, it was like Iron Man or something like that. It was a Marvel movie. End of the presentation's credits roll. It was the opening night. And I get up and nobody stands up. Now obviously they knew there was a clip after the credit. And I stand up, and I was like, oh, shit. All right. Now, I sat down and had no idea why I was sitting down. And I just kind of sat there for a little bit because it was so awkward. It was so weird. And then all of a sudden, I kind of was like, oh, maybe there's more. And there was.
It's the same thing at a concert.
Don't get up.
We just went to the Florida Georgia Line concert last weekend over in Maryland, right? It was super fun.
My first country concert.
But yeah, Jason Aldean, the whole deal. He does this whole thing. Hey, everybody, thanks so much. Have a great night. And he goes, but no one leaves.
No one left.
Right? So we're like,
Oh,
is it?
there's more.
Oh, okay. And then encore, comes back out, more partying, yay. You can clap, but stay seated. Stay seated, clap, awesome. This is the time where you turn your chair. Like, so let me ask you, man, like, from everything you saw so far, what's jumped out at you more, the products or the business?
The business.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's what I said, man. What about the business is getting your attention?
The money's
Yeah,
good.
that's what I said, man. Let me ask you, how much money would it take for you to go out there and make this worth your time? Right? Boom. This is where I get into answering questions. Now, if I'm not confident or comfortable enough to be able to do that with my own personal prospect, maybe you have people on now, all of you probably will be after today, but if you have new people on your team that aren't as confident as you are to be able to help that person get started, circle up. This is what we used to do all the time, is we would get together with my Open Line Royale organization. Just my Open Line Royale organization, the people that I get paid the $100 bonus to go out there and work with. If you are a Royale or above and you are not circling up with your personal team, you are not leading. You are breastfeeding way too much. Anybody you remember like a little kid that is breastfed at like 6, 7 years old? That's gross. You don't want to do that. That's disgusting. It's time to start eating real food. If you're a Royale and you're still breastfeeding, that's gross. That's like you circling up with my group still. You gotta, like mom birds, they kick their own babies out of the nest. So you're either going to fly or you're going to die. That's it. You can't stay here forever. This is my nest. You got to build your own. Right? That's what birds do. I'm going to be the person to get everybody together. Say, hey, listen, guys, we'll hand out applications. I'm going to come around and answer questions individually. If any of you guys have any questions, basically I just want to walk you through this application process on how to get started. We have this preferred customer application here, to save money and get discounts on products. And then we also have this right here, which is for our agents to get started and actually make money too. I'm going to hand these out here to everybody. I'll come around and answer your questions individually and help you get started. But go ahead and start filling out. This is where you help that group get started. Now, that's the time everybody's seated. Everybody knows in your organization, hey, as soon as it's done, we're going to circle up together right here in the front. Right? And everybody, oh, hey, come over here. It's not over. Let me introduce you to this guy. And everybody takes a seat. Your sign-up ratio will go through the roof if you just incorporate this little circle up process.
Don't leave.
No, some people are like, oh, dude, that was awesome, right? Great. Let's go hit the bar and we'll talk about it more later. They're at their highest level of enthusiasm right now. This is the most excited they're going to be. Sign them up now.
Here's one thing. Not do it later. No later. Here's the thing that I got good at doing, and I would recommend trying this. When you're new, and this was revolutionary for me. This changed my whole business at events, just so you guys know, is learning how to ask someone to join.
Yes.
Learning how to ask someone to join revolutionized my check.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
When I was new, I brought somebody, and at the end it was really awkward because I didn't know what to do or what to say. So at the end, I would literally I would leave, not because I didn't want them to join, because I didn't know what else to do. Because I was like, there's like that, so.
Oh yeah, it's like the
awkward, weird, moment. So what I would do is I would talk through the awkwardness and the nervousness and just keep talking. Isn't that amazing? I know, man. I just tell you that I love the car bump, the drive your dream, and it's just like, man, I just so happy I found this, and just keep on talking through the awkwardness because I'm beating around the bush. Here's what I want to do. When I learned to do this, changed my business. At an event, started bringing people. I just looked Joe dead in the eyes. This is what I've said for a long period of time. Say, hey, everything makes sense. Mm-hmm. Now, if the presentation did a good job, presenter did a pretty good job, usually that's going to be a yes. Now, we might have a question. Questions I'm not afraid of. Hey, everything makes sense. Awesome. So, you ready to get started?
You kind of want to think about it?
Here's what's crazy. When I started asking, you ready to get started? I just gave him a big smile and looked at him. You ready to get started? I had a guy say yes. It was the craziest thing in the world that ever happened to me. This guy was like, yeah, sounds good.
When you get
Wait, I need an application. I need a... He said yes. Guys, he said yes.
when you get into the end zone, don't pretend like it's not your first time there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't like do the touchdown dance, but like, got one. You know what I mean? Like, as I've had people be like, hey, you ready to get started? I'm like, yeah. Like, really?
Really? So you really want to do it?
No. But don't pretend like it's your first time in the end zone. You know what I mean? Like you've been there before. Bring applications with you to the briefing. Anticipate someone actually saying yes. Like you do? Oh, shit, I should probably. Hey, Alan, do you have an application, bro, on you? I didn't bring one. What?
And your guess is like, well, obviously you didn't think I was going to sign up.
Yeah.
When I learned to do this, here's what was crazy. Once I learned how to ask if they were ready to get started, hey, so you ready to get started? So
Notice how he tapped me, too. That's such a unconscious confidence thing.
Now, at the end of the slide, doesn't it have an A, B, or a C? Mm-hmm. So if you don't know what to do, just ask them. Say, well, hey, so are you an A, B, or a C?
I think we'll B.
Awesome. If I feel confident enough, well, what can I answer for you?
I want to know more about how do people make all this money?
Yeah, perfect. Now, if I'm confident enough to do that, I'm going to answer the question and go back to the great. So you ready to get started?
I think so.
Awesome. So, if I'm not confident enough when I'm new, I started just bringing people to that little Royale circle. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, here, come with me. You know, right? Right. Now, what's awesome is at the beginning of the presentation, my guest showed up early. If I introduced him, let's say that circle was with Joe, and I introduced my guest to Joe, it was so easy to be like, hey, guess what? So I teed him up for it. So if I'm with Chris, and I'm like, listen, Joe, listen, afterwards, just to kind of fill in any blanks, we're just going to kind of go over here so we can get a chance to talk with Joe before we leave.
Yes. I said that before the presentation. Hey, afterwards, we're done. Actually, I'm going to introduce you to one of the guys that I'm working with. It's a friggin' beast. Killing it, man. We'll answer any questions you got. Hang out.
Now he's got a question. Any question. That's a great question. Hey, Joe, that's a great question. Mm-hmm. Actually, hang on. Instead of, I'm just new with this. I'm new. Write this down. I'm new. I don't know. I'm new. Let me introduce you to one of the people I can't. I don't want to give you half an answer. I want to make sure you have to get the full information.
So circle up inside the room as well.
Inside.
All the energy is in the room.
Yep.
As people are like, hey, we're going to circle up over outside. All the energy is in the room.
Yep.
If you are maybe like feeling like you're an orphan, you don't have a Royale here in the market, bring them to the presenter.
Yep.
The presenter will usually take the orphans who don't have a leader in the room and be the person that can help anybody that has prospects that they're not comfortable with. And I will ask your prospect if they're ready to get started.
Yeah.
I'll ask them for you. You bring them to me. Easy thing.
Good?
That's awesome. Lead by example.
Lead by example. By the way, here's leadership. Lead your ship.
Oh, I love it.
Ooh, can you tell the Warren Buffett story?
Just
the one you told me of in the morning. It got me fired up.
So I'm reading Warren Buffett's biography right now, which is just amazing. So Warren is a little kid. I'm reading the early parts of his life. He's a little kid, and he's practicing his instrument to be able to play, and he eventually gets good enough to play in this is back in that's a long time ago. After World War I, they had Armistice Day, which is the day everybody kind of laid down their weapons to decide the fighting was over. And all the students would go to the gymnasium on Armistice Day, and they'd play taps for all of the fallen soldiers who passed away during Armistice Day. So the way they would do it is the first chair, the first leader of the orchestra, right, would play the dun, 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 right? And then the next person would do an echo of what the first person played. Dun, 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 as they like a round where everybody would echo the first thing. You guys ever done like a round? Right? So what's amazing, right, is Warren is the second chair, the first echo of the first guy. Right? And he's all excited. He's like, man, I got the easy job. This guy's got to start it out with everybody. So the first guy gets up to play, and he goes, dun, 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 and he messes up the last note. And Warren freaks out. He's like, what do I do? They didn't prepare me for this. Do I echo the wrong sound that he made and make him look like a jerk, or I echo the wrong sound, knowing it's the wrong sound, so that I don't mess up his partner, but it's the wrong sound going down the line, or do I play the right sound and make him look like he messed up? Interesting spot to be in.
Yep.
This is one of the big distinctions of Warren Buffett's life. At a really young age, he realized in life it's easier to be the echo only until the originator messes up. It's easy to be the echo unless the person that you're echoing messes up. Then what do? And what's amazing is only the originator can progress. The echoer, the copier, can only get as good as the originator is. Never past that. But only the originator can actually progress and move forward and advance. So such a valuable lesson where he said, having an internal kind of scorecard of knowing how well you're doing, he calls it an inner scorecard or an outer scorecard. People with an outer scorecard need to be validated by everybody else around them. They need approval. They need everybody else's checklist of if they're doing well or not. People with an inner scorecard say, I know how well I'm doing, I know I'm on track, and your approval doesn't make or break my decision to do what I'm doing. Let me ask you guys an intelligent question. Think about this for a second. Would you rather have the reputation of the world's greatest lover and in fact be the world's worst lover? Or would you rather have the reputation of the world's worst lover but in fact be the world's greatest lover? Now everybody says the second, but very few people live like it.
Yep.
It would be hard to go through life with the reputation of the world's worst lover. There are some people, honestly, if they could choose in private, they'd probably have the reputation of the first. But that's that inner scorecard where you know what you got going on, and everybody else's opinion really doesn't matter. I'm telling you, to make it in this industry, to make it big in network marketing, and honestly, really anything, massively in life, you have to have that inner scorecard. I'm telling you, you look at anybody, a Steve Jobs, a Warren Buffett, a Bill Gates, anybody who's been a massive, anybody who's made it big in anything, I can tell you it was not a straight road to the top. Most of them, people did not get out of their way, roll out of their way to try to make it easy for them. In fact, most of them, they probably had people put more things in their way to try to give them stumbling blocks. This was normal. And every single one of them were able to stick to I believe in this, and I'm going to do this. Regardless of what other people say or think or do, this is where I'm going. And they had that intestinal fortitude to be able to I know that this is right, and I believe it, I'm going to keep going, regardless of how they feel. That's a huge thing.
How many people have you told the Warren Buffett story to?
One. You.
Me?
That's it.
When did you hear it?
Yesterday morning.
Okay.
No, last night.
Here's the thing I want you to get this. He heard something yesterday and was so fired up about what he heard that he taught it to me this morning on the drive here. This is subconscious for him. He doesn't realize he's doing this. But in the teaching, he gets the learning. Do you get that? He got the lesson through teaching me. Now, it's amazing. He was able to articulate it totally different this evening than he was this morning. It was 20 times better, by the way, this time.
Thank you.
Because this morning he was fumbling. He was trying to recall it and then spit it out, do all that stuff. Now, what's amazing is something that he learned yesterday, he's already teaching. Teaching. Get it, pass it, get it, pass it, get it, pass it, get it, pass it. I want you guys to think about how many people in your organization are you going to pass this information on to?